Hello everyone. Today we'll be learning about something called as probability. Now, what is probability? The basic meaning of probability is the possibility of something happening. Okay. So as you can see here, there are two pictures. The first left side is the person is tossing a coin. So what is the possibility that you will get a head or a tail when you toss a coin? The chances are you get either one of them. You'll get either head or tail. So the possibility of getting a head is 50%. Same way, the possibility of getting a tail is 50% because we have only two options. Either I'm going to get a head or we are going to get the tail. So the possibility of getting head and tail is same. That is 50-50 percentage, right? Therefore, we call such kind of events or such kind of possibilities where the events which are going to occur have equal chances, then we call it as equally likely. Now, when you come to the next picture, we have 4 balls of blue and 2 balls of pink. So if suppose I put them in a box and I try to pick out a ball, okay, so then what is the possibility of getting blue? It's 4 out of 6, and possibility of getting a pink is 2 out of 6. So what is the more possibility of getting a pink? It's around 1/3 of the possibility, whereas for blue is 2/3. So are they equal chances of getting a pink ball and a blue ball? No. There is more chance of getting a blue ball compared to pink ball. In such situation, we call it as the probability or the event which will occur is not equally likely because both the events of getting a pink ball or a blue ball is not equal. Right? So these two words, equally likely and not equally likely. Equally likely tells us that when a chance or probability or a possibility of an event is going to occur or not occur, or the possibilities are equally there, equally likely, have equal amount of possibility to happen, then we say equally likely. And when there is one particular event going to happen more frequently than the other, then we say that it is not equally. Hope this is clear. So what is an event? An event is a particular experiment or a particular thing which is going to happen or may not happen, the prediction. Like when we say, is there going to be rain tomorrow or today by afternoon 12 o'clock? It may be or may be not. So that particular thing is called as event. If it happens, then the event is one. If it doesn't happen, then the event is not. Okay. So what is the possibility that it will rain by prediction? It is never equally likely because we cannot say 50% sure and 50% unsure, right? It can be not equally likely, correct? So this is what we talk about probability. So probability will be revolving around these words: event, outcomes, equally likely, not equally likely. Okay, so we are going to look into the formula of probability, or the basic, what we say, the way to find out the probability. So there are two ways of representing probability. Probability when we are doing an experiment. Okay, when you are doing an experiment, it can be a mathematical based experiment or a science based experiment. And when you're expecting an outcome to come out, outcome means a possible result that you are expecting. So what is the possibility that this result will come out? Like suppose somebody is baking a cake for the first time and he is expecting that the cake will come out to be best. It is not going to be a mess. Then what is the possibility? So it's an experiment for that person because he's doing for the first time. He or she is doing for the first time. So he may do this trials. He may do it in one time and he's going to check it, or maybe he's going to do 3 to 4 times to get it perfect. Okay. So how many times is this person did it? So that is called as number of trials in which the event happened. So maybe a person would get the best cake baked within the second time attempt, or a person may get it like in the 10th time attempt. So he's attempting it. How many times did he attempted it? So that is number of trials. And in which attempt did he get that? Okay, so that is number of trials in which event it happened and how many times did that person do it. Okay, that is experimental probability. And theoretical probability is for certain events which are there. You don't have to really do an experiment to understand that. Like suppose if you toss a coin, you toss a dice, right? If you are playing cards, there are certain events which are there. Out of them, one of the options are going to come out of as an answer, right? So when there are some certain events which are going to happen, then and there's many options in that event, then which is going to happen, then we call it as theoretical probability, right? Like leap year is going to happen, that event is going to happen, right? But then what is the possibility of 29th February falling on a Sunday or falling on a Monday or falling on a Tuesday? That is something which depends on that particular year and the calendar, right? So the number of outcomes for that particular day of 29th February falling on a Sunday will depend on how many leap years it is possible. So that is what we are saying, theoretical probability. Theoretical probability is an event which is going to happen, right? Then the changes. So we say number of outcomes favorable for this event and the number of possible outcomes of the event. Correct? So now we are going to talk about something still further definitions and some further terms related to the probability chapter. Okay, so favorable events means the events which will happen, which are in favor for us, and total outcomes are which are favorable and which are not favorable, both together. Okay, so let's talk about a very simple example and an important rule that says that when you add up all the possibilities of a particular event, then it should add up to be one. Again, I've taken a coin. This is the head and this is tail. So when you toss a coin, the probability of getting a head, as I've already mentioned, is 50%. Means it's half. And probability of getting a tail is also half, right? So when you add up the probability of head and probability of tail, it should always be equal to 1. That is what this property is saying. This property is saying that whatever events are possible in this particular scenario, if you add the probabilities of individual events, they should add up to be 1. So in this case, the two possible events that can occur is head and tail. So probability of head is half, probability of tail is half. So when I add them up, it should be equal to 1. And it is half plus half equals to 1. So that's the first property that we are looking into, right? The next properties. If suppose we say there is a probability which is never going to happen. Like if you're throwing a die and you expect that you should get an 8 with single dice. It's not possible. If you expect that there should be one like after 20 years or maybe 30 years later, there'll be a leap year where 29th February will not be February 29th. It's not possible because we know that leap year means the additional day is going to be a February 29th. Impossible. Something which is never going to happen. Such an event will always have the probability of 0. Is there a probability of getting a day where the sun is going to rise from west? Never. The probability is 0. The probability that which is going to certainly happen, for sure we know that it's going to happen. That is, its probability will be equals to 1. Like sun rises every morning from east. It's for sure. We know that every 25th of December will be celebrated as Christmas Day. It's for certain. Correct? After every 12 months, the earth is going to come to the same position. It's a certain event. So the probability is 1. So the condition for probability of an event is it's always either going to be equal to 0 or it can be equal to 1 or it will be between 0 and 1. So a probability of event is never going to be less than 0. It is never going to be more than 1. Okay. So now if there is an event, there will be two possibilities. Either it will occur or it will not occur, right? So when you add up both the possibilities that it is going to happen and it is not going to happen. When will this happen? When you are not sure about that event. Like suppose if I say, when you're tossing a coin, we know that it's going to be head or a tail. I can say the same thing as it can be head or not head, right? So when you add up the possibility of both the event of happening, that means getting a head or not getting a head, it should always be equal to 1. And such event where getting that particular event and not happening together when added up equals to 1, they are called as complementary events. Okay, hope this is clear. I'm going to take a quick question based on these properties, okay, and then I'll explain the main concept. So we'll start with this. Okay, probability of event plus probability of not happening event 1. Probability of event that cannot happen is impossible event, correct? And such an event is called as impossible event. So what is the probability of an impossible event? 0, and it is called as impossible event. Okay, so the first one is the possibility. The probability is 0. The probability of an event that it is certain to happen is 1, and such as an event is called as certain event, right? The sum of probability of all the elementary events, that was the example which I gave for probability of head plus probability of tail, that is half plus half is equals to 1. The probability of an event is greater than and equal to always 0. It is equal to 0 or it is bigger than 0, and it is always less than or equal to 1. So this is the same property given in terms of a statement. Okay. Next, which of the following experiments have equally likely outcome? Means equal amount of possibility of any of the event happening. So a driver attempts to start a car. The car starts or does not start. Is it possible? 50-50 percentage. If he is a very initial person to learn to start a car, then the possibility will be it will not start. But if he is an expert driver, then the possibility will be maximum. Suppose he is trying 10 times, then it is not equally likely, because if he's an expert, it is going to start many times, more than 5 times, right? So it's not equally likely. Next, a player attempts to shoot a ball. Basketball means trying to hit a basketball, like a cricket batsman trying to hit the ball. He or she misses or hits the shot. Is it possible that if a bowler is going to ball 10 times, so 5 times the batsman is going to hit it and 5 times he is going to miss it, are you going to get a sure idea about it? No. So it's not equally likely. A trial is made to answer true or false question. The answer is right or wrong. Yes, it's equally likely because it depends on the question. It can be either true or false. You have only 2 options. Any one has to happen. So it's equally likely. A baby is born. It is a boy or a girl? Equally likely. Correct? Because either one has to be there. Okay. The last question. When we are tossing a coin, and especially when any game is being played between 2 teams, why we do consider tossing a coin rather than doing any other event? Because tossing a coin, getting the probability of head and getting the probability of tail is both going to be equally likely, a 50% chance. Therefore, we try to take this possible way of deciding which team will play the game. Okay, hope this is clear. Okay, now we are going to talk about the real part, that is finding the sample space. What is the meaning of sample space? Sample space means finding the possible outcomes when an event is done in combination. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it in detail. So when we are tossing a coin only once, the possibility is you'll get either head or a tail. That's the sample space, right? But when you are tossing the coin 2 times, okay, so when I'm tossing it first time, I'm going to get a head or a tail. So head or tail. So once you have tossed it, it's head. Again, when you're tossing, are you sure you're going to get a head? No, it can be a head or a tail. Correct? So if first time it is head, we can get a head second time also. Okay, again, if I'm getting first time head, the second time it can be a tail, right? Similarly, if I get first time tail, the second time it can be a head. First time tail, second time tail. So we have first time when you're tossing, we're getting head and tail. But when you're tossing it second time, it's head, 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 tail, tail, head, tail, tail. Am I clear? So the sample space is 4 possible total outcomes. Sorry, 4 total outcome. Head, 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 tail, head, tail, tail. Clear?